Alright, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a review for Fully Coolly Progressive Episode 3 entitled Stone Skipping. It seems like these episodes, it seems like the more this show goes on, the more Hidomi's dreams just get even crazier and kind of harder to understand, which is obviously intentional. And me and my friend here, we might have different opinions about this episode. This episode was a little bit more relaxed. It was a little bit less crazy in a sense, but then at the same time, it still had that craziness that we all expect from the show. But what do you? So what do you think about this episode overall? Before we get into before we kind of get into each scene, going scene by scene and everything. What do you think about the episode overall?
Honestly, dude, I think like it was just okay for the most part. I can't really hate it too much because it's fully cool, but then again, it's like some parts that weren't needed, like the whole the Maury and his damn like lolly hustler of a girlfriend killed me.
Yeah, I was
We'll get
thinking
there.
about that. I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, is this a useless subplot? But we'll get into that because that could have been a useless subplot. Like one of my not to cut you off because I'm gonna let you continue, but one of my concerns just going into this episode, when we saw the preview of this week's episode last week, I was hoping that this wasn't gonna be like a filler episode because like we see them at the beach and everything, so it's like, is this gonna be a filler episode or whatever? But go ahead, continue.
Besides like certain points in the episode, like we'll get there when we get there, but like it was just okay. I can't really hate on the art style too much either. Like it was vivid and all that, and the dream sequence is still like, oh my god, like they really like push forward with the whole like these lucid ass dreams that Hidomi's having too. So I can't really hate it too much, but I do feel like this was kind of like the weaker episode of the three that we've seen so far. So that's just me.
Okay, so let's get into the first scene of the episode. The episode starts out with Hidomi having another dream, and as we said, the dreams are getting even crazier. It basically starts off with Hidomi falling onto some power lines, and then she says that she wants to devour her friends, and she says, and this is interesting, or at least I found this interesting. She says that her friends, she refers to her friends as her former classmates that she has never had a single conversation with. And I feel like throughout this episode, when they kind of show Hidomi on the beach and she's kind of like to herself, and one thing I will say, we're kind of getting to see more of Hidomi's personality the more this season goes on, and we're seeing that okay, yeah, she's kind of antisocial, and there's a point in the episode, not to skip around, but there's a point in this episode where I believe the girl's name was Aiko, the rent a date girl that the fat dude
Yeah.
brought. She goes up to her and she's like, "You're not gonna swim. You don't plan on swimming." And Hidomi's like, "Nah." But later on in the episode, we know we find out that her bathing suit is over her body. But I don't mean to skip around, but during that dream sequence, she starts feeling all over herself. It just kind of got creepy at that point, and then a small chippy version of Jinyu
Oh
starts
my god,
to
that was
yeah
adorable.
yeah that was
Adorable.
it was freaking weird. She like she comes up to her and she's like, Hidomi, wake her, like Hidomi, watch out or whatever. And then the dream basically ends the dream ends with basically Hidomi kind of floating up because like there's basically water all around her, and then like these hooks, so like these hooks are bringing up what I guess are like dead bodies, and then this big hand crushes all the dead bodies. It's like it was a really weird dream that I can't even decipher. Like I can't really figure out what that was about. Do you have any clue what this dream was about, and like what do you think about the dream sequence? Overall.
Yeah, and I think the dream sequences are so good, despite like we have no idea what they're trying to like tell us. I think I have an idea, but they're still really like good and really fucking trippy. I think what they're trying to tell us is I think this is what I think like this is another like snippet of how Hidomi really feels, or something is like taking over her to make her think like this. Because like her being happy threw me off like real quick when it started. I'm like, wait a minute, why are you happy? You don't do happy. What the hell is this now? So
Yeah,
there's
that's
that,
another
and
thing. That's another thing I forgot to mention was her personality. But go on. I didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah, it's fine, man. Anyway, it's just so I think like when she does like truly overflow, I think we really are gonna have a problem. I think there's a monster or something within her or something. I don't know. This is just me like spitballing an idea, but I mean, hell, it might be the headphones. I mean, who really knows? Because she got real defensive over Jinyu taking the headphones that in the first episode. So then there's that. But I have no idea. This could be a vision of the future if, Haruko gets her way and there's nothing but devastation, because I originally thought that in the first episode with the first dream.
Yeah,
But
because she says that she says in the dream that her friends aren't around her. So because she planned on basically fighting them like in the last dream from last week. I guess she was planning on like biting them. They were gonna be like zombies, like biting each other or something. It was just weird. Like I don't know. I don't even know what to think about it, to be honest. But you were about to say something?
um, other than that, like it was really good and really really trippy, especially Chibi Genu. Like I would pay money to have one of those. I don't care. Genu's like perfect thing to come out of this to me, but still, it's just like I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas. What do you think it's trying to convey?
I mean, I like I said, I can't even come up with something on the spot. I mean, I've watched this episode 3 times. I watched this episode yesterday and then twice this morning, and I can't even for the life of me figure out what this whole dream sequence is about. Like I said, the biggest takeaway I got from this was just that line where she says her former classmates that she calls her friends, but she's never had a single conversation with her, well, with those people. And then later on in the episode, we see her off to herself. So I don't, I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't, man, I don't know. Let's
See,
just kind of move on past that. It might. I think these dream sequences are gonna make more sense. Maybe they'll make more sense the further we get into this season, because I feel like this one kind of ties more back into the dream sequence from last week with the zombies and stuff. So we'll have to see on that. So a few things that we got to note here is that this episode takes place. It takes place 3 months later, and
at
what do you say?
that like that 3 month time skip.
Yeah, I'm noticing that because I think last week's episode kind of did a time skip of time too, didn't it? If I'm not
I think like
mistaken.
that was like right. I think that was like a day after the first episode,
Yeah. Okay.
because like
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
Jinyu
You're
was
right.
still
You're
like
right. You're right.
working with her mom, and it's like we this episode was like it's a 3 month time skip, and we actually see like Jinyu like protecting Hidomi in those little like flashbacks. So it's like,
Yeah.
why?
Apparently Haruko's been stalking her the whole time.
Let me get this in real quick. Let me get this in real quick. If nothing else, this season one would have been drastically different had like Naruto had like someone back him up, like both Ide and Jinyu, like Ide later in the episode, and especially like Jinyu's been protective over her. If someone had the kids back, like as we're seeing like in this season with her, like
Yeah.
just think about it. Like he had no one. Everyone around him was fucking insane, and the kid only was making sense. Even his friends were idiots,
Yeah, it seems like
and yet
everyone is a bit more doubt. It seems like everyone is a bit more dialed into reality.
in this, well, can't really say much for his two, like the other two friends, because the skirt and shit. But Jesus,
Yeah, like
I
what?
can't.
What's the fat guy's name? I can't even remember the dude's name.
I think
Who?
Maury.
Amori? Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
you gotta taking effect. Like, what happened to when Haruko brainwashed them kids in like the second episode? Remember, they were brainwashed at the end of it, and they were brainwashed in the second
Yeah,
episode. It's like
yeah. See, and
that's
that was something that we brought up, and I think they brought that up again this episode, where it was in that scene where Haruko was like, he was she was basically burying Jinyu in the sand, and then she was like mixing the concrete and stuff, and then Jinyu mentions a brainwashing suppression mechanism after, and she says this after she tells, wait, hold on, yeah, she tells her this after Jinyu says that basically Haruko can't have Hidomi. She's like, he said something like brainwashing suppression mechanism, that they took countermeasures, or they took extra measures ahead of time, or something like that. Now I'm thinking, like, who is this they? Are they is she referring to medical mechanica? Is she saying that they put like I'm thinking maybe those headphones prevent her from being brainwashed like the
yeah.
other children, like the children were
And Ide's are,
in the
and
second,
I
I guess,
guess
second or first episode or whatever. But then it's like, well, how is Ide? How is Ide and the other friends, Marco and the fat guy, like how are they not brainwashed? But it would make sense if Hidomi isn't brainwashed, but how are the other ones not brainwashed? You get what I'm saying?
exactly like that what kind of threw me off. But sorry, but back to my original like thing.
Yeah, my
Pointing
bad. I
out
probably
here,
cut
like
you off. My bad.
it's cool. It's cool. We talk about pretty much everything we can in these reviews anyway, so it's cool. I don't know. Like the more I think about it, it's like season one would have been drastically different had someone like had the kids back, because no one, like even Conti, like it's pretty much God, I miss Conti. Conti just did whatever she said. Like the robot was basically the chore boy throughout, so he doesn't count. So I don't know. I just thought that was like really like interesting to like the more I like saw like what was going on, and like Ide stepping up and later in the episode and all that. I'm like, wait a minute, like, he's actually like, it's weird seeing someone stand up to Haruko is what I'm trying to say here. It's really weird because
Yeah,
she doesn't have really
because like
free reign
we
here.
didn't see that we didn't see that in the first season, so it's kind of weird to see her equal. And they do touch back on that thing that they said in the second episode with like basically Jinyu and Haruko being the same person, where Jinyu's talking to Hidomi, and she's basically saying, we have the same goal. And she says this later on in the episode also, that her and Haruko have the same goal, but it's just a different, what you say, like same goal but like a different objective or whatever. Like they're after the same thing. They're after, I guess, the Adamus. Oh, I guess they're after the Adamus or whatever. But
Here's the sorry
no, go
let
ahead.
me get this in. Okay, what we know about Automask so far is like Space Pirate King, Rockstar giving those like that two neck guitar that Naruto used in the first series. Um Powerful as hell. Uh Fourth thing, like is this like, is he a god? Is he man? He's obviously a man because
Yeah,
Jinyu
well,
talks about like
they refer
him.
to him. Yeah, they
So,
refer to him as a man.
but I don't like, what is he? Is he a god? Is he a pirate king? Like, is he just a entity of power? Like, what is it? What is he? What is he?
Yeah,
I don't
I don't know,
understand.
man.
It's like the way like she talked about him. It's like, okay, so what I'm getting at is that he's basically a player who just goes around from alien woman to alien woman. Is what I'm hearing. And Haruko just is still lovesick for his ass. That is what I'm understanding anyway. Because I
Well,
remember when
Jinyu,
she was
Jinyu, not to cut you off, but like Jinyu, like what we were saying, it's like Jinyu wants him too. Jinyu wants him too. So
exactly.
it goes back to like that theory I had about like in our last review. I was like, maybe they're the same person because he said that thing of, oh, we're like the same, we're the same basically. Like, are they the same person? Or are they twins? Were they split up because they are aliens? So that could be a factor that maybe they were one person and then now they've been split into two, or maybe just they're twins or something. But it's something about this guy. It's something about this guy, the Adamus, and these two characters going after him, going after him. It's something about him, but like we won't know until probably later on. They'll probably clear it up.
And once again, it's like that. I mean, it's like the whole like Naruto power up in the first season. It's like that was like some, I don't even call it Naruto esque, but it's just like he just like had the power of a god at the end. It's like, I don't know. Not only that, but the credits scene again. I'm gonna keep referring to this every week, probably. Like, shows them splitting in two. So there's that too. And here's another theory I have. It's like, what if they were, what if they had his power at one point and then like they kind of split? I don't know.
Yeah, let's just move on from that because we kind of getting sidetracked. So
Uh,
like the next thing that happens, oh yeah, so I did mention that whole fact that Jinyu starts talking to Hidomi and she's like, well, what do you want? What do you want in life? And of course, Hidomi's like she doesn't really know, but then uh E-Day, they're playing a volleyball and he hits the ball and the ball ends up rolling to Hidomi's feet, and then she looks up and obviously last episode they kind of pushed that narrative forward of basically Hidomi and Ide liking each other and everything. And I thought they kind of basically set that up nicely in the second episode. And then here again, we basically have them setting up that, she wants this guy. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about that particular scene. The scene after that, where basically Ide is looking for Hidomi, and then he finds Hidomi tied up with Haruko, and like I mentioned earlier, Hidomi had her bathing suit under her clothes and everything, which means when she was talking to Aiko, and she was like Aiko was like, are you going to, like, aren't you going to swim? And then basically Hidomi's like, no, but she had her clothes on like she was going to swim. So what was up with that, right? Like, you
yeah.
clearly came prepared. So that goes back to that kind of goes back to something that I tried to explain in my analysis video of the first episode. It's like she can't really be, because I think it would be wrong to say that she's depressed, but perhaps she's just shy because I mean, again, she's kind of antisocial. I'm kind of seeing from this episode. Again, going back to the to the things that she said in the dream. and then the way that she's acting, the way that she's just kind of away from everybody, she's playing to like even when they show her like the flashbacks or the scenes that they show her like playing in the sand, and then they I think there was like one scene where like she was holding a crab or whatever. She's always off to the side by herself. She's around these people, but she's not really socializing with them or interacting with them. But she's just off to herself, which makes me believe that she's antisocial and maybe she's even shy because again she's wearing a bathing suit, but she didn't take her clothes off and get into the water and swim. So that's that's kind of what I got from that. And then the green blob comes out of Ide's head, and he commands it like a Pokemon to attack Haruko. I'm like, man, we commanding these things out, and like the thing is, the fact that because he sees Hidomi in the bathing suit and everything, and that kind of triggers him to, I guess that kind of triggers him to overflow or whatever, and to summon this green blob thing out of his head from another dimension. But I'm thinking, is he gaining more control over his power or whatever? Like, is he gaining control over his over over? You get what I'm saying? Like, is he gaining control
Yeah,
over that? Like,
over
what's
that
going
over
on?
that NO channel. Yeah,
Yeah. That's what it's
probably.
called. That's what it's called. I was trying to remember what that was called. Yeah.
I like to think so because it does like listen to him before Haruko gets a hold of it and like starts like commanding it herself. So
Yeah,
like
it's like attack Haruko. That's like some Pokemon stuff when you're commanding another monster and stuff. Like that's the first thing that I thought of. Like if he's able to.
actually like
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You want to say something?
actually like especially like in the later um like later on when they're both Jinyu finally comes back after like looking like a damn like concrete pickle. Um, like she like helps him get Hidomi back. Where like I think she even sees like he has some potential to actually like put in some work. So I think like they know, but be just me like overthinking things.
Okay, and like in the middle of the fight and everything, and I'm gonna need your help to kind of describe the fight and when Hidomi basically overflows. But before we get into that, because I think that might be part. I think that particular scene you might have had problems with, maybe. But let's just kind of get into the rent a date girl, Aiko.
Uh,
Let's kind of get into that because I think you might have had a problem with that whole subplot with her and the
yes.
fat dude. Yeah, because so like later on in the episode, it's basically revealed that Aiko's dad was the guy from the first episode in the restaurant, the guy with the red hair, and he was wearing a red and black cap during the first episode, and basically it's something with this plant. That plant, I guess that plant is special. The plant that she gave the fat dude, that the fat dude ends up hitting. He ends up hitting it at the end of the episode. Well, basically, the I guess that was Aiko's dad. I assume, but Aiko's dad and the old man, the old man with the eye patch from the first episode that was also in the restaurant. They basically start talking, and they start talking about that flower, and he's like, "Oh, I can't find that flower." So I think they might know something. They might know about the whole medical mechanica thing and the atomisk and everything like that. Sort of like how the eyebrows guy in the first season, like he knew about all this extraterrestrial stuff. All this other crazy stuff with like the NO channels and stuff. I think that they know a lot about all that stuff with like the space pirates and everything like that. But just kind of getting into Aiko, like, what do you think about the whole subplot? Now I'm gonna let you kind of speak about the things I guess you hated about this subplot or whatever.
Okay. I for one did not like this subplot because it's like this could have been given more time to I don't know, flesh out more of Haruko and Jinyu's like fusion dance or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Something else could have been given to besides this shit. The only good thing that came out of it was the hustler bit. Was it her voice change from like I cutesy and happy to more like man, bitch, give me my money.
Yeah, she mad has she has an attitude problem. Like her real personality is just like way far away from the way that she was acting in front of his friends. And I knew something was up with her. I just knew something was up. I knew something was up with her early on in the episode. Cause and they kind of hint at it. They hint at it when she's talking to Hidomi, and she says something like he didn't pay for. He said some. God, what did she say? But she basically said something that kind of gave away the fact that basically that he was paying for her services. Basically, she said something to Hidomi that kind of hinted at what was really going on. But I thought that this, I thought that her as a character, like it was like I can kind of see why anyone, especially you, but I guess I can kind of see why anyone would have a problem with this character just suddenly popping up and really just her inclusion in the episode is kind of like this might have not been needed. Like I guess maybe they added her to actually have a connection to her father, so that we can see that that was her daughter, and then they're gonna. I guess it's all set up because like going back to what I was saying earlier about that flower pot. I think there might be something with that flower and Aiko's father. So I think they were just trying to set up her father more, maybe like her father and the old man with the eye patch are trying to set up whatever is going to be happening with those characters later on in the season. But yeah, I can kind of see how you or anybody else could say, okay, yeah, this was kind of unnecessary subplot with Aiko and the fat dude whose name I keep forgetting, even though you told me a few minutes ago.
And he's skirt boy, as far as I'm concerned. I hate him. I hear you like, ugh. Like, anybody I can eliminate, it's him. Like it's just stupid comedy ain't here, man. Like we have good dumb comedy already. Your comedy is not needed. All right. Just oh my god, like it just like her was not necessary. The only reason I didn't expect much. I was just drawn out the second she's on here. I'm like, oh my god, they added a fucking lolly in here, please. Why, God, why? So when this like that turn happened and their voice changed, I'm like, you got a kick out of me because I was just becoming genuinely flattened every time she was on screen because I'm like, oh my god, why?
I mean, you could easily tell something was up, man. You could easily tell something was up. Like
Start asking it, don't me questions like
in the
that.
episode, at a certain point in the episode, they kind of gave, like I said, they gave it away. They gave it away. They definitely gave it away.
Yeah, pretty much. So, what else?
Okay, and after that, I guess we can start to talk about the big fight scene, and then also Hidomi basically overflowing and everything. So you can kind of describe that fight scene probably better than I can. So you can go and
Okay. Huh?
no, I was saying you can go and kind of do that because I can't really describe that because it's too wacky,
Okay.
too crazy.
Okay, since Haruko tries to be a pervert and tries to get her overflow, doesn't work. Ida comes in, sends his like Pokemon creature after her. A fight ensues, and pretty much like thank God. Okay. She really starts to overflow like when like it flies into her. She like
Yeah,
cases them on
basically because I can see you kind of I can see even you have a problem
struggling because it's like
describing all this because it's wacky, it's crazy, and I like one thing I can say is that I can say that it's the way that they kind of planned all of these fight scenes out. It's I guess the word I guess the word I guess the word that I'm looking for is choreographed. I guess it's choreographed in a I guess it's choreographed perfectly. Like it's just a wacky scene to kind of describe. But basically, they're fighting in midair, you know, and at one point, Hidomi's lips they end up touching Ide's chest, and then this is all while they're like falling in midair, and this basically causes her to overflow, and her headphones turn red, and then
Meanwhile,
she basically gets absorbed by this. I don't even know how to describe it, but basically she gets absorbed, and then basically Ide tries to Ide hits the thing with with Jinyu's guitar. Yeah, just help me out here, man. This like it's God. This is
okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. Like the plant that Skirt Boy strikes up into the air, hits Ide in the face. He falls. Jinyu finally like Jinyu's car catches him after Jinyu like somehow gets in the car, still looking like a damn pickle. She finally hulks out and finally is able to move her limbs. I'm like, why didn't you do this earlier? If you, I'm like, why did you do this earlier? In fact, while I'm on this subject real quick, how did you fall for this shit? If you've been like guarding her for 3 months straight, and you somehow fell for her go doing this to you, how? How did you fall for this? Anyway, she like knows that he can help, so she gives him a guitar, and I guess his inner Naruto like activates and he hits it, gaining helping her to finally get released from the damn thing. After that, Haruko like complains like, "Oh my god, of course she doesn't know flow," so she tries to take off the headphones, and Ide steps in and is like, "No, no, I'll do it." I'm like, "Did you not learn by now to not
oh yeah,
trust
something
what she
yeah
says?"
something else to point out is that her headphones turn orange. Once Ide gets her untrapped from that thing or whatever, her headphones turn orange, and this this is a completely new color for like the headphones being turned. This is like the first time they actually turn that color. So I'm guessing like orange is like okay, you didn't completely overflow. So I guess that's the color for that. And I've tried to do an analysis before, like I said, with the colors and stuff, and I can't even figure out this one. I can't even figure it out if
You
there was
said
any.
orange.
Nah. Well, I know the color itself, but like I couldn't figure out if there was any other meaning to that other than what was on the surface there, which is okay. Like you didn't really completely overflow. So like that's the color. That's the color before red or whatever. But so
And
basically,
like,
Haruko tells Ide to take the headphones off, like you said, and when he tries, they basically turn red, and they basically like the headphones are I guess the headphones are stuck in her now. Like they show there's the
oh
basically
god, this
a drilling animation at one point, and then
literal this
go ahead.
this I'm sorry, but this legit Gurren Lagann shit where it drills into her skull, and I'm just screaming like, "How are you not dead? How the series over? She has drills in her skull. I don't want these headphones no damn more, man. Go ahead."
I think what that was the emergency system that Jinyu
Yeah.
mentions at the end of the episode. He says that the emergency system activated because Haruko basically manipulated Ide and was like, "Yo, take the headphones off," when they shouldn't have done that. And so it sounds like by the end of the episode, they're setting up for basically Jinyu and Haruko to attack Medical Mechanica. That's what I think is going to be happening next episode. But these one thing I will say is that these plot summaries for the episodes don't really match up. Like they don't do a great job of describing the core of the episode or whatever. Because the next episode, if you read the plot summary for that, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I think they basically gonna. I guess they're gonna be attacking Medical Mechanica next time, or maybe it's just gonna be Haruko just attacking it. But yeah, they basically set that up, and this is the first time where the episode ends. I think it's great to point this out that it's the first time the episode ends where Hidomi, doesn't um turn back to normal or whatever. This is the first time that that's happened. So like, is she gonna be unconscious the whole time in the next episode? Because she didn't really regain consciousness by the end of the episode, and her headphones were still red. And something else to note is that her headphones, like the I want to say like the ends of the headphones or whatever, they kind of like popped out or whatever. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's right.
yeah. So I
Uh,
don't know what's gonna be happening with her next episode. Like, is she gonna be stuck in a dream sequence the whole time? Like, it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do next with when it comes to her character. And then again, the stuff that they set up in the episode with the old man and the other guy that was at the restaurant. Like, I'm hoping to see a payoff for that. And I hope that this isn't the only time that we see this Aiko character, because otherwise that would mean that you just put her in there for no other reason other than basically to set up her father and the old man. But yeah,
and one other thing you forgot to mention, yeah, like the whole Haruko saying like, let's go after Medical Mechanica, except the preview literally shows them her and Jinyu going into Ide's head, and I'm like, okay, if there's one thing these promos like to do is throw us all off, so that's one thing that the first season never did. We never went into the damn portal. We always saw shit in robots coming out. So, I don't know what the
well,
hell could possibly.
actually, that makes sense. I think that makes sense that they're doing that, because maybe that's the way that they get into Medical Mechanica easily that way. Because if I remember correctly, and please forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but I think that like Medical Mechanica, the whole setup for the first season was like they were using the kid's head to like bring over weapons or whatever. So maybe by going in his head, they can somehow go into wherever like Medical Mechanica is, like I guess their main base or whatever. That's just me speculating.
I think. I mean, I guess, but like again, I'll bring up the promo again. Like they're like shouting like, "Ida, you idiot!" Like Haruko's like, I think like G and Ginny was like screaming like, "What have you done, Haruko?" When Haruko's like, "Ida, you idiot! You
Okay, yeah, I didn't
idiot!" And
see all
then
that. I just saw a little bit of it, because I guess I just had left and came
they
back
were
into the room or whatever. So I didn't get to see the full promo.
so both of them were screaming as they were both like getting sent into his skull. So I don't know. I don't know.
It's either what I just said, or either they're just gonna be like in another completely another dimension or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think we've kind of gone on long enough. I apologize if we kind of went off the rails, and yeah, we were kind of struggling a bit. I'll admit we were kind of struggling a bit to describe that one particular fight scene when they were in the air and then all that other stuff, because this show, y'all gotta cut us some slack, because this show is kind of hard to do a review for,
Show's bonkers, okay?
especially a weekly review, because this is the type of show where once you get all the pieces together, you even have to rewatch these episodes over and over and over, which we have both done. But there's some stuff that might not be clear that we're gonna get cleared up later on. So I apologize if we are kind of like really off with a lot of our assessments, but we just kind of wanted to do this review discussion and just kind of give you guys our thoughts on things. But overall, if you want to give the episode a score, what would you give it? So we can kind of close out.
I guess a 3 out of 5. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hate on it too much, but it had its moments, and then it had its down moments where I'm like, okay, this doesn't really progress anything. How progressive, how, but I think a three's fair so far.
I wouldn't necessarily, and I'm not saying that you're implying this, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this was a filler episode. But I will say it's probably a weaker episode only because
Yes, that yeah,
we don't really know the significance of Aiko and that whole subplot, if that's ever gonna lead into anything. And then the guy with the eye patch and you know, Aiko's father, or who I assume is Aiko's father or whatever. There were a bit there were a few things that just too many loose ends, and I kind of want to see them clear that
yes.
up by the end of the season. But I won't really I won't really knock off too many points for that, because I guess that's part of that's part of the I guess it's like intentional. It's all intentional. So I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 for me. You know, I won't go as low as you did, but I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So yeah, thank you guys for
That's fair.
watching this review. I apologize, we were a bit too long this week. This about be like a 40-minute video, so I apologize. We're out of here. Peace.